Well, hello and welcome to the Week 2 edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show. My name is Brent Johnson, your host, along with a couple new faces, but not new, just new to the show this year. Coach Thad had to take care of some things this morning, so he sent two of his finest, some young bucks here from offensive, defensive side of the ball. We got Coach Moses Eason and Coach Braden Griffiths. Glad to see you guys here. You always do a great job when you're on the show. Y'all don't act nervous at all. This would be a little different, I guess, if we had a peanut gallery or a live audience, or we do pre-record this. So we rarely mess up, but if we do, I can always stop it and we can start over. But that's a rarity because these guys are so good. So I want to welcome you to the show this week. And the Coaches Show is brought to you by BCTV Red Raider Broadcasting, which is a part of my program here at Bacon County High School. Help support my kids as they compete in Technology Student Association. So it helps us to support that program as well. We enjoy what we do, but we couldn't do it without some special sponsors that we've had with us for multiple years, and I just want to audibly give them a shout out, and that's Burt CPA, Cody Electric and Plumbing Supply, as well as Bennett Johnson Insurance. So I want to thank them for being a part of this show. All right, guys. Big game 1 win of the regular season last weekend. Had a typical August Friday night under the lights. Had a delay with the weather that came in, a lightning delay, and it rained a little bit as well. I was very thankful that we got started as early as we did, about 8:15. But anytime you have a delay like that, it kind of sets everything off course, and you got to. You guys are ready to rock and roll at a 7:30 kick. You got your pregame stuff lined up, and we got most of that in. And then you got to go back in and come out cold turkey. So, how do you feel like our boys responded? Obviously, they responded pretty well. But what's it like when you go back inside with the guys like that?
Obviously, it's a little jitters, anxiousness, ready to get out there on the field, but. I think one of the more important things is they knew they had their family out there. We had packed our crowd. That was a beautiful thing to see, especially with week 1, having the crowd out there, knowing that your family and friends are out there, knowing that once it gets rolling, it's just time to roll. Our guys they've been ready to roll ever since May of last year.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of anxiousness and nervousness, but not in a bad way.
Okay. Well, good. Yeah.
I think it's been the reoccurring theme since we've been here for 3 years. We've had several delays, and we just come out and it's like we're a whole new different team. You think about, I think it was the Lanier game our first year, the Appling game last year, Telfair last year, and then this year, our first 2 games actually started in delay. I think it just, it drives them to want to compete more because they go out, they hear the music over the speakers, they see their family, they see their friends, and it just hypes them up. And then they got to go back inside, and they're just like, man, I'm ready to get out. They can't sit still, and they're walking back and pacing back and forth in the locker room. They're just ready to get out there. So, I think they always handle the delays that, especially in August, you're going to have them every year.
Yeah.
I think they handle it very well, and it shows on the field when they go out and compete.
Well, that's good, and that's a testament to you guys. Preparation during the week, and then that discipline that you're teaching them, and to compete. So that, again, I think that's a testament to the coaching staff. So I appreciate y'all having them ready for those situations, because that's life. That's another life lesson for them. Things aren't always going to go your way when you want it to. Everything's not going to happen at the right time, and being able to regroup and individually is one thing, but being able to regroup with a team, that's pretty special. So we did get that big win. So what does it mean to start the season 1-0? Is it a huge difference between 0 and 1?
It's pretty big. It's very huge, especially starting with it at home. Being able to go out there in front of your friends and family and start the season off right. It's a huge step forward. A huge step forward in confidence for our guys and keeping that team chemistry up and just having that overall morale as far as the kids and the coaches.
Yeah,
so that's huge for us.
I think it's big too because you get that taste of success of 1-0, but you still have 9 games left that you have to that are very important. One game doesn't get you in the playoffs. It doesn't get you a region championship. It doesn't get you to a state championship. You still have work to do. So it gives them the taste of success of being, hey, we're 1-0. We got that big win under our belt. We got the first one off our back. Now let's do the same preparation plus more to be able to go win 9 more.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, you know, my dad asked me Saturday, I talked to him, and he's like, what do you think about last night? I was like, well, you know, I saw some improvements from the week before, and that's what you should from week to week and everything. And I just know, and I'm not a negative Nancy. I'm a you know, a half full glass of water, you know, a glass half full kind of guy. But, you know, I look at our schedule, and it's daunting. You know, it's got to be one of the toughest in the state of any classification. But I know that win guarantees that we're going to have at least one win this season. That's important, not in a negative way. So I was just really glad that we showed up. I know Brantley struggled last year. I think they went 0-10, shut out 6 or 7 times, and I knew they were going to come over and be hungry at least. And you know, but our boys, I thought overall, again, they did what they needed to do. And we'll talk more specifically about on offensive defense side of the ball, but I was real proud of the way they came in and played and took care of business. You know, so yeah, I thought that was awesome. You know, from a defensive standpoint, you know, we pitched another shutout. We had a shutout in the preseason game, but this is where the stats count. It goes in the books, in the Max Prep stats, and anytime you can shut out a team, I don't care who it is, it's a pretty big deal for the defense. So what does that mean for you as a coaching staff? And you know, we wasn't perfect by no means, but we kept them out of the end zone.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful thing. Like I said, builds confidence for the kids. We preach to them, play fast, play furious, you know, go out there and just let loose and just have fun. And it was a beautiful thing to watch our kids go out there and have fun. Everybody ran to the ball, from the biggest defensive lineman all the way from the quarterback on the opposite side of the field. Yeah. And you can't ask for nothing more than that but effort, energy, and aggression, especially on defense. And when they come out with that, then you see the results on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and from a, you know, obviously you coach offense, but how much more confident does that make you and the offensive side of your coaching staff and your offensive guys? How much more confidence does that give you when you can kind of fall back on that a little bit?
Yeah,
know?
It gives you a lot of confidence, and it also you know, it aggravates you too when you don't live up to, you know, obviously we want to be better, but you know, they're out there playing their tails off and, you know, giving everything they got. You know, we want to help them out too. You know, we don't want to just put all the pressure on the defense. You know, defense wins championships, yes, but you know, we want to take some of the pressure off them too. But it is very good to, you know, fall back on. And you know, I tell our guys on offense all the time that, you know, what better way to prepare than going against our defense? I mean, you're playing against one of the best defenses that you're probably going to see. You know, one of the best. You know, if not the best. But yeah, it takes the pressure off, but it also puts the pressure back on because you don't want to leave them guys out there to dry. You want to do your job too, and help out. You know, but you know, like it does take the pressure off, but there's a little bit of pressure added too.
Yeah, I got you. So there's a little double edge right there. Well, you know, was there anything that stood out to you on the defensive side of the ball? You know, a lot of times we're hesitant to name players because you don't want to leave somebody out. But you know, was there a kid that maybe stood out on the defensive side of the ball last week?
Of course, you got your linebackers, Carter. He flies around every game. You're going to get that from him 10 times out of 10. Every single game, he's 1,000 miles per hour. Wonderful kid. We love to see that. Then you got Amari Rouse back there in the back, on the back end, handling business. Cam is one of our guys who we ask him to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. He
might get down there and put his hand in the dirt. He might pass rush from the outside. He might play a little bit of Mike. He might even go out there and play a little bit of, you know, nickel safety or whatever you want to call it. Defensive line as a whole, we kept all those gaps closed. I was proud of every single one of my defensive linemen. They handled the job up front. We didn't give up many rushing yards at all.
No.
We didn't give up many yards in total. So I think collectively, we just had a great game. Like I said, they all ran to the ball. Even my big guy, shout out to Drake, holding it down in the middle for us as a freshman. Even you see him on film running to the ball as well. So getting that from a freshman, and shout out to the other freshman, Asar Brown, being out there and getting his nose in there and getting dirty as well. So shout out to those guys, some of the older guys, and then especially those freshmen stepping up and plugging in where they need to be, and that just lets you know, you got a bright future.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Now, again, you know, switch gears to the offense. We scored 20. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I thought we probably should have had 20 in the first half, and maybe 20 more in the second. But that's still things that we can clean up.
Yeah.
Some penalties we had. And those are things that sometimes I've said on here before. Sometimes you go out there and you just get whipped, and there's nothing you can do to fix it, right? But that wasn't the case. I'm still very, very optimistic about the potential of our offense. I'll make this one other comment. I'll turn it over to you. I thought Hennessy threw some of the best passes I've seen him throw.
Yeah.
A couple of them wasn't completed.
Mm-hmm.
It was a defensive play here and there, but just the ball coming out of his hand and the angle and the strength that he showed. A couple of his throws, I was very pleased and impressed with that. So definitely seen some him improvement there.
Yeah.
From last year to this year. One more comment. I thought our running game was pretty strong. I know we had an injury there, but eliminating one of our 3 backs. But number 9, Iverson, was a dude there for us on several carries that made a big difference.
Yeah.
Kind of putting the thing away, right? And but yeah, talk to me a little bit about what your thoughts on the offense.
Well, you brought up Scotland. I was very proud of him. Going through this whole summer, I've transitioned from offensive line to quarterbacks. I challenge him. I do. I put a lot of stuff on his plate, but he's like, I'm ready to answer the call, coach, and I'm proud of how he responds to that. I'm proud of our offensive line and our running backs. They've done a great job these past 2 weeks. The receivers blocking on the perimeter. I'm just proud of all 11. I'll just put it that way. I'm proud of all 11 that we put out there, and plus the extra 2 or 3 that we rotate in, and so there's about 13, 14 guys that we trust and we can put out there, and I'm proud of all of them that they go out there and compete. You kind of hit on it a little bit. We just got to clean some stuff up, and I think this past week against Brantley we had 350 total yards, and I think 230 of it was running the ball.
Yeah.
And I'll bring up a quote. I think it was Rich Rodriguez. I think he's the head coach at West Virginia. He said that if you run for 500 yards, you don't have to look at the score because you probably know who won. Yeah. And if you have to pass for 500 yards, you probably know who won too.
Yeah.
So us being able to run the ball for 230 yards, that's big in high school football. Just being able to line up and hand the ball off and get 3 or 4 yards in a cloud of dust.
Right.
I think we averaged about 4.8, 4.9 yards per carry this past week. So we're right there.
Right.
We're right there to putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. We just got to clean some stuff up. We'll drive down the field and we'll get in the red zone and there'll be a flag here, a flag there, or a missed assignment.
Right.
That just falls back on us. We gotta that falls back on coaches. We gotta make sure everything is clean from the top to the bottom. But I was proud of how we didn't really let it affect us. We had some drives stall out, but we didn't let it get down. We didn't let it affect us the whole game.
Right.
We still moved the ball. We still trusted ourselves. We trusted our assignment. And, we ultimately put enough points up to win. Now, would we like to see more? Yes. But it's like I told the guys, it's the beginning of the year. It's week 1, And now if we was week 9, week 10 playing like this, I'd be a little concerned.
Right.
But I have trust in, us as a coaching staff and our players that they're going to go out, they're going to get better. And we're going to get all the mental stuff fixed. And we're going to be better as a unit, a whole offensive unit. Because they say, you make your greatest transition from week 1 to week 2, and can we eliminate all the small mistakes that we're making that's holding us back just a little bit because we're almost there.
That's right.
We made a big jump from Telfair to Brantley. Now let's make that jump from Brantley to Irwin.
That's right.
And let's just see what happens.
That's right. And that's you can't play perfect. These are 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. Whether it's a drop pass, miss assignment, or an occasional flag. But it's kind of like the game of golf we were talking about earlier. Yeah. If you're on a par 4, par 5, you can afford to make one mistake and probably still make bogey. You're trying to avoid that double bogey, right? If you're the average golfer. But when it's the back-to-back type of stuff. It's the multiple penalties on a drive. Those are drive killers, and or missed assignments. The combination of those types of things, and like you said, just mental stuff that will iron itself out. And that, again, it's part of it. It's part of football. You're going to see the same thing. I don't care what level you're in. That's why the NFL plays so many preseason games. So when they start the regular season, they're pretty much ready to go. And they don't look but college ball, you'll see some mistakes and some things done because of that, just that same thing. So no different. Well, you just mentioned. Well, before we talk about Irwin, you mentioned we're headed to Irwin County Indians this week. Just talk just real quick about we talked about weather delays we've had the last couple weeks, and that's just August weather. You guys haven't. I don't think you practiced more than twice outdoors in the last 2 weeks, either heat or the lightning things going off. So tell the folks at home a little bit. What transpires when you're in the gym, or maybe you're watching film, or you're in whatever's going on. Because I don't know specifically, but what do you try to accomplish, and how does that work?
Of course, you want to be outside, getting that contact, being able to condition out there and get your body used to that heat and whatnot. But we take that time to be able to get on board, show the kids what we want to show them, and then get out there in the gym, and then show it in front of them again, and then show it in front of them again, and then let them run plays on it, and be able to do things like that. Correct the little mental mistakes that we made. Take a lot of time and try to focus, get them focused mentally. Like I said, you want to be out there in the heat and with pads on, hitting and all that stuff, but the game is just as much mental as it is physical. So you want to be able to have that IQ in those kids and get that mentality in those kids to be able to stay focused even during these times where we're not outside doing the regular stuff that football teams are able to do. But
Right.
We get in there and we focus them up mentally and get them in the shape mentally just as much as we can as physical.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah.
We, it kind of goes back to what you said earlier about life lessons. You got to play the hand that's dealt to you, and we're just in a time right now where, we love to be outside and we need to be outside, but we can't make it happen right now. And it gets aggravating, it does, but you still got to hone in on the task at hand. All right, we're taking a lot of mental reps right now because we can't really get after it like you would, in the gym, like you would on the field. We're taking a lot of mental reps. We're watching a lot of film. Trying to make sure whenever the time does come that we can get out there, that our mental game is, we know the assignment, we know what we're supposed to do, and our kids are physical. They're going to be physical regardless, and that makes you feel better as a coach when we have to go in the gym. It's not like we have to get these guys to be physical. They know when to turn it. They know when it's time to turn it on. But yeah, we want to get outside and we want to get after each other, and because we got a hard schedule, like you said. Brantley is a good coach. Is a good coach team. They're physical. Irwin's going to be the same way. And we try and get in the gym, and we'll turn crowd noise on the speakers and try and make it hard for them, because we've got to communicate, and it's a lot of mental stuff, which is good for us, but it's also bad for us too, because you want to get out and hit a little bit. But I think as a coaching staff and our kids have responded well to what we've had to do the past few weeks.
Well, it's a struggle, but like you just said, it's something that you got to play the hand you're dealt. And our Lady Raider softball team's been the same boat. They haven't been on practice field but about twice in the last couple of weeks as well, and they're playing 2-3 games a week, and trying to prepare for that mentally and physically. So it's tough. But we're going to head over to Ocilla tomorrow night and face the Indians, a team that I've mentioned multiple times that they had a tough season last year, at least tougher than what they're used to. But they've got a new coach from, is that correct?
Yeah, he come from Coffee.
Come from Coffee this year, and he's bound to have them turned in a little different direction. And it was kind of obvious last weekend. I asked Coach O'Brien, I said, was Wilcox that bad or is Irwin that good? He said, well, it's a combination of the two. He said that Wilcox made some mental errors, had a lot of penalties on offense, and it caused them to struggle to score points. But it was a pretty impressive win by Irwin on the first game of the season against a quality opponent on both of those teams. So, what can we expect going over to Irwin from I'll start with you since you're closest to me. From a defensive side, what can we expect? What are you looking for their offense? What are they going to run?
You can expect that wing T coming from them. They're definitely going to be trying to get 3 yards here, 4 yards there. They rotate. They got about 4 or 5 bats that can get that ball and take off at any given moment in time. definitely will have to be rallying up on them just like we did at Brantley and doing that, especially with number 5. He's very elusive. He also runs with power as well. So you can expect them to try to run the ball down our throats as best as they can and try to set the tone as being the most physical team on the field. And we'll definitely have to be fighting back and showing our best, giving our best effort there.
Well, that wing T, when you run that top style of offense, you got to have that mentality that you're going to be the toughest team on the field, because you're trying to push somebody around, get 3 or 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and then if defense misses their assignment, you're off to the races, right? Or doesn't tackle well. So that's a mental. You got to stay, I think, really mentally sharp and play your assignments on defense to cover that type of offense and type of like the wing T option style type. But yeah, they've run that for years, haven't they? That's what I thought, and it's been pretty successful over the years. You know, they had a run there, a couple-year run where they were state champions 2 out of 3 years, I think. So they know how to win. They have a culture of winning there, and that's what we're trying to build here. And that's the one thing I like about our schedule is, and I keep talking about that, is it's tough, but it's, you know, these first few games are manageable, you know, and everybody's still trying to work the kinks out, and we're going to go over there with a lot of confidence, I think, to be able to have a lot of success. And you know, what's our offense going to be up against when it comes to their defense?
We're going to have a challenge in front of us. You know, it's Irwin County. You know, they're big, they're athletic, and they love to play football. And when you have a mixture of all three that love to play football, big and athletic, it can create problems. But I trust our guys to go out and compete. And you know, I feel like as a coaching staff, offensive coaching staff, we've got a game plan ready that, you know, we're going to put our guys in a position to succeed. You know, I'm excited to be able to go over and our kids be able to compete against Irwin County. You're going to see the state championship banners. You're going to see, you know, their cultural winning. They're going to have the war chant going. It's going to be a good atmosphere for our kids, especially this early in the year, playing, you know, a good Brantley team, a good Irwin team. That, you know, that's the teams you're going to see in round 2 and round 3 of the playoffs. And you know, if you want to make a deep run in the playoffs, and they're going to prepare us for that. They're good up front. They run a 3-4, and they're going to get after you. They're going to blitz you, and they're going to put you. They're going to disguise their coverages, and they're going to do all kinds of stuff to try to confuse you and make you look like you're not prepared. But I feel like we put a good game plan together. I trust the 11 and that we're going to put out there to go put some points on the board.
Well, I'm glad you ended with that, because you sound like Lou Holtz there talking. You know, I don't know if we can. We're just not good enough to come in this stadium against these guys. I'm kidding, but no, that's and again, that's what we can expect from Irwin. That's what we're going to expect a couple weeks from now from Clinch. That's what, you know, we're going to expect from every team on our schedule. Again, I look forward to the opportunity, and I encourage, you know, everybody to let's load up and show out like we did at Telfair, like we did at home. Coach Easton just mentioned it a moment ago that I was very pleased with the stands. I'm a little preoccupied trying to run the school board on Friday night, so I'm not watching. I'm kind of watching the game, but not as in detail as if I was on the commentating staff with my guys on the broadcast. But one thing I did want to mention about our offense, I can't imagine, other than penalties, that we had more than just a handful of negative plays on offense. I don't remember maybe was there a sack or two, possibly. I don't even think we had a sack, and I don't remember. Maybe we got tackled in the backfield once or twice. So a lot of positive yards on offense. That was our offensive line did a pretty good job, and again, they're only going to get better.
Yeah.
And so again, I want to encourage everyone to take that relatively short. It's one of our shorter road trips over to Ocilla. He said it's going to be a really, really neat environment. You're going to hear that war chant. I think the last time we were over there, they still stick the thing in the ground right
So
they usually let somebody come out and do it, and kind of like throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game, and they'll stick the spear in the ground there at the 50-yard line or something to that effect. They may not do that anymore, but I know they did the last time we were there. And we broadcasted there. It's been last time they was in our region, I guess, about 4 or 5 years ago. So we're excited about being there and bringing it to you. If you can't be there, right now the weather forecast is looking better. 2 days ago, it was like 70% evening thunderstorms, but now it's down to about 23%. But we know that can change in 30 minutes because of some of the situations we had yesterday afternoon after school. But come on, bring an umbrella, bring your poncho, and let's see if we can support support our Red Raiders as we go over there and face these Indians, and see if we can come out and start this season 2-0 and get a really big win. You know, that would be a big win, going over to Irwin County and taking care of business. And we're just excited about that opportunity to be able to compete, and I think our guys will compete. So I want to thank these guys for being on the show today, sharing their insights from the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I've kind of gotten to know these fellas the last couple of years, and they're not just pretty good coaches, they're really good young men, and the way they carry themselves, and the example that they set for our guys in the hallways, not just out there between the hedges, between the lines. It's everywhere. And so you guys can sleep well at night knowing these guys are part of this team that we got here coaching these guys. So again, appreciate you guys being here today. Look forward to seeing you over in Irwin County. And that's all I got, guys. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.